A mother experienced embarrassment the moment she entered the parent-teacher meeting at the prestigious international school. Due to her cotton shirt and worn flats, she became the subject of ridicule among mothers with red lipstick and designer handbags. One inquired if she worked in the cafeteria, and another laughed, suggesting she had entered the wrong room. 15 minutes later, her billionaire husband arrived. Hillside Academy was situated on a carefully landscaped hill in San Francisco, its glass and steel campus symbolizing prosperity and aspiration. With a yearly tuition of $80,000, it attracted tech executives, hedge fund managers, and established wealthy families. Students arrived in Teslas and Range Rovers. Parent-teacher conferences were an impressive event, taking place in the auditorium beneath a high, curved ceiling, with chandeliers scattering light over rows of velvet seating. The parents entered as if attending a Met Gala, adorned in silk blazers, their stilettos clicking, Hermes Kelly bags swaying, and the air scented with Creed perfume. Their jewelry, including Cartier and Van Cleef pieces, shimmered like a personal constellation, and their murmured conversations held an air of authority. This was a setting where social standing was the accepted measure and nonconformity was heavily discouraged. Clara Vale entered through the double doors, her white cotton shirt tucked into straight-leg trousers, her faded gray flats making no sound on the polished floor. At 32, she possessed a quiet beauty, with emerald eyes that conveyed warmth and strength, dark hair arranged in a neat bun, her face unadorned and glowing naturally. She held a small notebook and a scuffed iPhone 8, her only adornments a simple wedding band and an aura of calm, unwavering poise. Clara, the daughter of a retired librarian and a carpenter, grew up in a modest Oakland bungalow. However, she was secretly married to Ethan Vale, a billionaire tech founder whose $200 million donation had rebuilt Hillside's campus. She prioritized a simple life, her wealth connected to Ethan's $10 billion empire, while maintaining a love for teaching art part-time and raising their daughter, Lily. She had come today to address Lily's difficulties, her heart calm but burdened. The auditorium resonated with carefully managed conversations, parents enjoying sparkling water from crystal glasses, their Rolexes reflecting the light. As Clara took a seat in the rear rows, the parents, adorned in Chanel and sparkling with Cartier, made her arrival a pointed display. Vanessa Holt, the venture capitalist's wife, rose and indicated Clara's flats, proclaiming, "Did she borrow those from the school's lost and found?" A wave of applause filled the air, accompanied by the sparkle of diamond rings as attendees captured images and shared them within the Hillside Royals WhatsApp group. Diana Crane, relaxed and dressed in Gucci, playfully tossed a discarded napkin at Clara, saying, "Use this for your resume." Lila Pierce, the technology CEO, remarked, "She's an embarrassment to Hillside's reputation." Simultaneously, phones recorded the scene, with video clips appearing on Instagram stories alongside captions such as "Scholarship Scrub." Elise Tate, her fur stole swaying, smirked from the sidelines, her silence seeming to approve of the attack. The laughter surged like a wave, each taunt a new injury to Clara's pride, but she remained upright, her emerald eyes steady, her notebook held close. The posts received 30,000 views, each share a public humiliation of her dignity. Clara took a seat in the back row, her notebook resting on her lap, her eyes surveying the room. As Clara took her seat, the parents' derision escalated into a harsh display. Vanessa Holt, her Chanel suit reflecting the light, rose and brandished a $5,000 Mont Blanc pen, exclaiming, "Did she borrow this from the janitor's cart?" The crowd reacted with uproar, their diamond bracelets sparkling as they shared posts to the Hillside Royals group with the caption, "Hammer Charity Case." Diana Crane, her Gucci dress catching the light, threw a sugar cube from her coffee tray at Clara, taunting, "Here for your next thrift store run." Lila Pierce, her Rolex catching the light, declared, "She's a stain on Hillside's legacy." Elise Tate, her first stole moving with her, recorded the event, her Instagram live accumulating 40,000 views with comments such as, "Ban her," and "She's embarrassing." The taunts formed a planned attack, each word a new wound to Clara's dignity. However, she remained composed, her emerald eyes unwavering, her notebook a quiet defense. The video circulated, each interaction a public reprimand, to her pride. Amidst Vanessa's taunts, the school staff became involved, transforming Clara's situation into a public spectacle. A counselor, Tara Lee, positioned close to the stage, seized a program and brandished it, loudly asking, "What's this, your application to clean the halls?" The parents laughed. Diana, recording her live stream caption reading, had Hillside Hobo. Another staff member, Dean Paul Carter, added, "She thought she could integrate with us?" Marcus Tate exclaimed, "Check her bag. I bet it's full of thrift store receipts." The footage went viral on X, garnering a meeting with Had and accumulating 40,000 retweets. Clara opened her notebook, displaying only lesson plans, but Tara threw it back, whispering, "Trash," just like her outfit. The shaming was a calculated display, the staff's hostility intensifying the elite's disdain. Clara's flats remained still, her emerald eyes flashing with discomfort, but her silence persisted, a silent resistance against the crowd. The posts circulated, each view a painful blow to her self-respect. Vanessa Holt, a venture capitalist's wife with 300,000 Instagram followers, and mother dressed in a red Chanel suit, observed Clara and expressed a derisive smile. She remarked to her friend, Diana Crane, a real estate heiress and wearer of an emerald Gucci, "Did someone extend invitations to the cafeteria staff for this gathering?" Diana responded with laughter, her $50,000 Birkin swaying, "That's Lily's mom, the student with a full scholarship. Apparently, she originates from modest circumstances." A ripple of laughter went through the room, with phones quietly taking pictures, the images instantly shared in a private WhatsApp group labeled Hillside Royals Scholarships NAFU. Clara remained still, catching sharp comments from the staff table located behind the stage. Paul Carter, straightening his tie, remarked with disdain, "Look at her. I bet she makes her own clothes with a library card." Tara, organizing handouts, chuckled, "She's here to ask for Lily's tuition." A third staff member, a librarian named Mia Holt, commented, "Ms. Veronica is too classy for people like that." Their words were audible as Clara steadied her notebook. An intern, carrying coffee, photographed Clara and shared the image to the staff's Slack channel with the caption, "Hat had lost in luxury." The image was then published on a gossip blog, which quickly accumulated comments such as, "Pathetic, ban her." Rumors circulated like a backstage betrayal, reflecting the parents' disapproval, every statement a deliberate attempt to diminish Clara's value. Her bun remained tidy, her emerald eyes blazing, yet she continued writing, their negativity unable to shatter her poise. The blog post reached 50,000 views, each comment a new hurt. Clara raised her head, her emerald eyes steady and intense. "Thank you for expressing concern about my family's finances," she stated, her voice gentle but distinct. "Were you examining bank statements to feel superior?" The room fell silent, Vanessa's face reddening, her voice sharp. "Who do you think you are? Just sit there quietly and be thankful, freeloader." The parents nodded, their jewelry making a clinking sound, as if Clara's presence was an insult to their world. Clara's lips curved into a slight smile, her posture unwavering. "Oh, now I understand why your daughter bullies mine," she said, her tone even. "It seems she's picked up that mannerism somewhere." The auditorium grew colder, audible gasps spreading, yet Clara remained seated, her notebook open, her silence a steadfast defense. The taunts continued. While Clara shifted her notebook, she overheard muttered comments from the staff table positioned close to the stage. Mia Holt, the librarian, spoke in a loud whisper, her clothes clearly indicate food stamps. "How could she possibly sit with us?" Paul Carter laughed. "She's likely here to acquire additional scholarships." Tara Lee remarked that Ms. Veronica was too sophisticated for her type. Their voices were audible, pointed enough to cause discomfort as Clara was seated just a few rows back. An intern, tasked with arranging chairs, captured a photo of Clara's flats and shared it on the staff's private Discord, with the caption, "Had Hillside Hobo too." The image subsequently appeared on a local gossip site, prompting a deluge of comments, including "disgraceful," "expel her kid." The hushed remarks constituted a planned act of disloyalty, reflecting the parents' contempt, and represented a concerted effort to undermine Clara's value. Her bun remained neat, her emerald eyes glowing with controlled intensity, Yet she continued writing, their negativity failing to shatter her determination. The site's post reached 70,000 views, with each comment a new wound. Diana Crane, her Gucci dress gleaming, whispered to Lila Pierce, loud enough for Clara to overhear, "Her daughter's a difficulty, frequently upset in class." She continued, "It's no surprise. She has a mother who can't even dress appropriately for this gathering." Lila Pierce, her diamond studs sparkling, added, "Students on scholarships invariably create drama. These individuals are not welcome." Videos taken on their phones have been shared within the WhatsApp group, now reaching 20,000 views and attracting numerous comments with calls to remove them. Hillside deserves better. Marcus Tate, a father and tech VP, participated, expressing mockery, suggesting, "Bet she's here to beg for more handouts." The ensuing laughter felt like a surge, and each remark felt like a new hurt, but Clara maintained a composed gaze, her flats firmly planted on the floor, and her dignity served as a defense against their harsh words. Ms. Veronica Blake, the homeroom teacher, stood from her desk. Her navy blazer was sharply tailored, her blonde bob neatly styled. At 40, she was Hillside's key figure, her reputation established by satisfying affluent parents, her $200,000 salary dependent on their satisfaction. Her tone was level yet cold. "I want to address a sensitive matter," she stated, her gaze fixed on Clara. "Lily has been experiencing frequent crying in class, having difficulty with socializing, and causing disturbances in the classroom environment." Parents acknowledged, Vanessa murmuring, "As expected." Clara expressed a subtle frown, her voice remaining composed. "My daughter reported being locked out of class, having her lunch concealed, and being pushed in the bathroom," she stated. Ms. Veronica's expression became more intense, her voice carrying a critical edge. "Children who experience bullying often contribute to the situation," she observed. "You might consider a review of your parenting approaches." A ripple of agreement passed through the room, Diana's Birkin making a sound as she nodded. Ms. Veronica proceeded, her voice distinct amidst the subdued sounds. "Following a discussion with the school board, we have decided to suspend Lily for 3 days to prevent further disruption." Parents offered quiet applause. Marcus smirked, saying, "Good call." Clara's fingers tightened around her notebook, her emerald eyes briefly reflecting distress, but she remained silent. She retrieved her iPhone, composed a brief message, and sent it. "Lily's been suspended because we're not rich enough." The room remained oblivious, their conversations continuing, Vanessa uploading a confident picture to Instagram, with the caption, "Hat, Hillside Standards." While Ms. Veronica's words lingered, Vanessa Holt initiated a severe online attack. She shared a collection of Clara's difficulties, her apartment being damaged, Tara discarding her notebook, her face showing distress, accompanied by a mocking pop song, and the caption, "Poor mom struggles at Hillside. Stay in your lane." The video quickly became viral on TikTok, reaching 300,000 views and receiving comments such as, "She's a nobody," and "Hillside deserves better." Lila Pierce highlighted it on YouTube, stating, "This is why we protect our elite spaces. People like her damage everything." The video spread worldwide, each share a new pain for Clara, who saw it on a newsstand tablet outside, waiting for Ethan. Remarks in the auditorium mocked, whispering, "She's viral for all the wrong reasons." Their laughter stung, but Clara remained upright, her emerald eyes unwavering, her composure concealing turmoil within. The online harassment campaign targeted her reputation, with Vanessa leveraging Clara's distress to gain attention. Spectators continuously recorded the event, each share a demonstration of Hillside's harshness. The post accumulated 50,000 likes, each a painful blow. Clara remained composed, her shoes still, her heart a silent turmoil poised to erupt. 10 minutes elapsed when the auditorium doors swung open. Ethan Vale entered, his sharply tailored gray suit impeccable, his Italian leather shoes polished, his dark eyes assessing the room. At 35, he was renowned in the tech world, his AI company, Vale Tech, assessed at $10 billion, and featured on the Forbes 40 Under 40 cover. His $200 million contribution had financed Hillside's new library, theater, and STEM wing, his name displayed on the campus gates. The room fell silent, Vanessa's flute dropping, Diana's Birkin falling to the floor. Ethan Vale, Lila murmured, her earrings losing their shine. Adults remained standing, their ornaments appearing less vibrant, as Ethan approached Clara, resting a soft hand on her shoulder. "My apologies for the wait," he stated, his tone composed yet authoritative. "I am Lily's father, and the individual who invested $200 million into Hillside this year." A stunned silence filled the room. Ethan retrieved a USB drive from his briefcase and gave it to the principal, Dr. Helen Marsh, who stood motionless close by. "According to last week's security footage," he stated, his voice devoid of emotion, "the footage shows our daughter being forced into a cabinet. A teacher witnessed this incident and did not intervene." His gaze turned to Ms. Veronica, who visibly blanched, her blazer showing signs of distress. "You are no longer a teacher," he declared, "you are an accomplice." Parents reacted with shock, Vanessa's Chanel suit appearing to droop, and Diana's face flushed. Ethan's entrance didn't just quiet the room, it altered its dynamic. Addressing the parents, his voice was firm, stating that Hillside's funding was being reevaluated, beginning with each family implicated in this situation. Vanessa Holt's online influence significantly diminished as Chanel and Dior ended their partnerships, resulting in a drop to 5,000 followers, and her Pacific Heights penthouse was put on the market to address financial obligations. Diana Crane's real estate business failed, her yacht was taken back, and her Birkin handbags were sold at a pawn shop. Lila Pierce's technological ventures encountered widespread boycotts, and she was effectively excluded from Silicon Valley leadership roles. The National Education Association released a critical report, highlighted in a widely shared article, "Hillside Elites Fallen Trending." At a San Francisco charity ball, attendees wore cotton ribbons as a tribute to Clara, rejecting the discredited group. Online platforms buzzed with activity, users sharing they embarrassed Clara. Now they are being disregarded. Clara observed the consequences from her Oakland center, her cotton shirt a symbol of hope, her resolve unwavering as the elite acknowledged her truth. Ethan's influence was sudden and impactful. The implicated parties experienced public humiliation and apprehension about lasting consequences. Ethan's USB drive triggered a significant legal action, with the Vale's attorneys filing a $75 million lawsuit against Hillside for negligence and defamation, identifying Ms. Veronica, Tara, Paul, and Vanessa as co-conspirators. The court awarded $25 million, leading to Hillside's financial ruin, a depletion of its endowment, and the sale of its campus to a public trust. Ms. Veronica's teaching career concluded, her assets were seized, and her name became a cautionary example. Tara and Paul were charged with criminal negligence, their reputations irrevocably damaged. The settlement facilitated the Vale Foundation's expansion internationally, initiating anti-bullying programs in Berlin and Sydney, safeguarding 5,000 children. Schools globally embraced Clara's equity charter, eliminating elitist practices stemming from her actions. Forbes published a feature on Clara Vale, the mother who transformed education, with her flats representing resilience. Social media reacted strongly to Clara's triumph, with users sharing posts and celebrating her success in dismantling a corrupt system. At a foundation gala, a student embraced Clara, their future now assured. Clara smiled, her emerald eyes sparkling, her victory serving as a beacon of hope for those unheard. Ethan's influence was substantial, shattering the world of those responsible and burying their legacy beneath Clara's integrity. The WhatsApp group fell silent. The Harris Scholarship's incident videos were quickly removed in a flurry of anxiety. Clara stood up, the light illuminating her cotton shirt, her green eyes scanning the room, connecting with each person. "I'm not seeking apologies," she stated, her voice firm and resolute. "I simply hope that, following today's events, you will instruct your children to be respectful individuals, rather than cultivating a mindset that values people based on their wealth and possessions." She then faced Ms. Veronica, offering a smile that was outwardly pleasant but subtly sharp. "I prefer a simple style," she stated, "not because of any financial limitation, but because I felt no need to demonstrate anything to others." The room felt empty, the parents appearing diminished, their affluence rendered insignificant. Clara's words resonated like a judgment, her composure a subtle dismantling of their self-importance. Clara offered a final, courteous smile, stating, "Thanks to today, I can now clearly identify the genuinely disadvantaged individuals present." The immediate consequences were substantial. By evening, the San Francisco Chronicle published a headline, "Billionaire Donor Exposes Hillside Academy's Bullying Scandal." Footage from a USB, leaked to X, quickly became viral, depicting Lily, a small 9-year-old with Clara's emerald eyes, being shoved into a cabinet by Vanessa's daughter, Harper, while Ms. Veronica walked past with her clipboard. The clip reached 5 million views and generated hashtags such as Hillside, Shame, trending, along with comments like "Fire them all" and "Protect Lily." Ms. Veronica was terminated, her teaching license undergoing review, and her reputation severely damaged within educational communities. Vanessa's Instagram account experienced a loss of 200,000 followers, while her venture capitalist husband began to create distance between them. Their Pacific Heights mansion was discreetly put on the market. Clara chose to avoid prolonged public attention. A month later, she appeared at a renovated Oakland community center, her own apartment now quiet on the hardwood, establishing the Vale Foundation, a charitable organization dedicated to assisting bullied children and supporting underfunded schools. The initial gala generated $15 million, with Ethan's donation taking a leading role. Clara's cotton shirt had become iconic, appearing in Vogue as the look of courage. She managed every aspect, her notebook containing detailed plans, her iPhone receiving expressions of gratitude from families. Ethan, with his jet at SFO, provided support discreetly, but Clara's vision guided the mission. The center's walls displayed photographs of Lily's new school, a progressive academy where she flourished, her smile radiant. Hillside parents apologized, but Clara focused on change. Her wealth was tied up in Valetech. Hillside's reputation plummeted. The school board resigned, Dr. Marsh stepped down, her legacy tarnished. Vanessa's daughter was expelled, her family was rejected by the elite, Diane's real estate deals fell through, her Birkins were sold to cover debts, Lila's tech firm faced a boycott, her stilettos became a relic, Marcus lost his role as vice president, his smirk was forgotten. The academy experienced a 30% decline in enrollment, its chandeliers appeared dim, and its gates served as a stark reminder of Clara's statement. Online platforms celebrated with hashtags centered on Clara, trending as users shared posts. She refrained from arguing, achieving victory with composure. The Vale Foundation's second event, co-hosted by Clara and Ethan, welcomed 2,000 guests, each a reflection of their shared mission. Clara and Ethan spent evenings at their Marine County residence, where the garden flourished with lavender. She was dressed in a cotton shirt, and he wore a sweater, eschewing a tie. Over tea, they outlined plans, with Clara's notebook open on the table, displaying a recent photograph of Lily at the foundation's launch, her laughter bright. Their love was understated, their resources considerable, but their purpose even greater, dedicated to safeguarding those in need. The world now recognized Clara, no longer simply as a benefactor of scholarships, but as a powerful figure who transformed unkindness into empathy. Clara Vale sought no recognition. She was the core of it all. If you enjoyed this story, please consider supporting us by sharing it, liking it, and subscribing. We'd also love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us what you would have done if you were in that room. She endured a deeply embarrassing ordeal. During her wedding, each step she took down the Montclair Castle aisle felt oppressive, as if crushed under the weight of mocking stares. "Wait, that's the bride," someone derisively commented. They thought she was a member of the staff who was lost. Her dress was simple silk, lacking any embellishments, no shimmer, no train, no designer lace. She proceeded alone without bridesmaids or family. And beneath the sound of clinking wine glasses arose whispers, cutting like knives. Was she deserted? She isn't suitable to be a billionaire's wife. Perhaps he reconsidered. A marriage arranged for compensation? Then the helicopter arrived. The individual everyone believed would be absent emerged, and in his hand he carried her father's. Montclair Castle stood as a stronghold of luxury. Its aged stones were situated on the cliffs of southern France, where lavender fields bordered the Mediterranean's sapphire glow. This was not simply a wedding location. It served as a prestigious platform for the world's elite, Global financiers, royalty, tech titans, and dynastic heirs were in attendance. These very halls had previously hosted the engagement of Monaco's princess, their chandeliers reflecting a rich history. No press entered through its iron gates, no paparazzi climbed its walls, and no social media presence marred the event. Invitations were meticulously hand-etched on vellum, each name representing a key to power. Rothschild, Windsor, and Musk were present, crystal flutes clinked, diamonds sparkled, and each guest possessed a significant level of influence. The air was fragrant with rosewater and ambition, and the castle's gardens showcased a display of immense wealth. Away from the exclusive area, a retired schoolteacher observed on a private live stream, his delicate hands shaking, his eyes focused on his daughter's singular poise. Iris Lane entered the castle's magnificent hall, her unassuming silk dress moving gently, crafted by a friend from a Kenyan nonprofit. It featured no crystals, no striking designs, only understated sophistication. Her chestnut hair cascaded loosely, accented by a simple veil, and her hazel eyes held a composure that appeared to quiet the room. At 27, Iris possessed a striking beauty, unpolished by the trappings of high society, and evident in the natural grace of someone who had educated children beneath acacia trees and handled aid contracts in Nairobi's dusty offices. Growing up in a modest New York apartment, she had experienced the loss of her mother to leukemia at 12. Her father, currently struggling with late-stage cancer, was too unwell to journey, his hospital bed a distant reality. She had once envisioned attending Oxford, but instead opted for a career with a nonprofit, her spirit molded by a dedication to service, rather than a pursuit of prestige. She walked alone now, the sound of her used shoes soft on the marble floor, her unassuming appearance a striking contrast to the surrounding opulence of Versace and Dior. The assembled guests shifted as Iris entered, their gazes sharp and critical. Celeste Dupont, a French banking heiress wearing a $50,000 Dior gown, moved closer, her voice laced with scorn. Who permitted the kitchen staff to approach the aisle? She whispered, her words easily picked up by the private live stream. A wave of laughter spread amongst the crowd, diamonds sparkling, as phones were used to quietly record Iris's simple dress. Victor Langston, a tech mogul known for his $10,000 watch, smiled from his seat. She's the bride? I thought she was delivering the cake, he remarked, eliciting laughter from his group. Iris gently touched her veil, maintaining a calm expression, yet the atmosphere was charged with derision. Her father's face on the live stream grew strained, the insults a blow to his pride, and the viewers felt a surge of anger, poised to erupt. As Iris walked down the aisle, the elite's disdain evolved into a planned attack. A flurry of irises and $30,000 gowns created a barrier, their voices a harsh, biting sound. Look at her, assuming she deserves this castle, one remarked, flinging a silk napkin toward Iris's feet. Back to the charity event, darling, another exclaimed, brandishing a phone adorned with diamonds. She's a bride from a thrift store. I bet she's never even witnessed a real wedding. Phones illuminated, their personal messages cruel, referencing Iris as a Montclair outsider, focusing on her pre-owned shoes. A hedge fund tycoon exclaimed, she's dragging this event into the gutter. The crowd's laughter felt like a public execution, with each word a lash against Iris's silence. Her father's face on the live stream showed pain, each taunt a blow to his daughter's dignity. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts pounding, furious at this mob's relentless cruelty. Amelia Westwood, Julian's cousin and a reluctant bridesmaid in a $20,000 Chanel dress, approached, her smirk sharp as a blade. You have no support, she stated, her voice quiet but sharp, intended for Iris's ears only. But perhaps you could make an effort to appear more refined? A prince of Monaco is seated in the front row. Her companions chuckled, their pearls reflecting the chandelier's glow, their murmured comments a harmful current. A beneficiary, without lineage. Iris straightened, her hazel eyes meeting Amelia's, resolute but with a tremor in her neck. The guests' laughter rose, their disdain a display of shame. Her father's hands trembled on the live stream, tears reflecting the light, but he focused on his daughter's strength. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts aching for her as her reputation was challenged. Amelia's criticisms became more pointed, her voice rising to make sure the live stream captured each phrase. "You're a blemish on the Westwood legacy," she declared, her Chanel dress sparkling under the chandeliers. "That gown, that veil, did you obtain them from a second-hand store? You'll never be accepted here." The sound of her heels echoed, their laughter a harsh chorus, as phones focused on Iris's simple silk dress. "You're a nobody benefiting from Julian's reputation," Amelia stated, her smile sharp and pointed. "He deserves a queen, not someone of lesser means." Iris's fingers pressed tighter on her veil, her hazel eyes revealing a hidden strength, though her expression remained calm. Her father's hands shook as he watched the live stream, the personal insult wounding his daughter's sense of value. The audience's anger intensified, their feelings of sadness for Iris growing as they reacted to this calculated attack on her identity and love. The murmurings of the crowd became louder, their sense of privilege creating a protective barrier around Iris. A wife of a Russian oligarch, wearing a $30,000 Givenchy gown, turned to her husband. She commented about Iris's mother's absence, questioning if it was due to a lack of a ticket or funds. Her voice was audible on the live stream. Her friends chuckled, their jewelry sparkling, with one remarking, "It must be a charity wedding. He is engaged in humanitarian efforts, facilitated by marriage." Devices emitted light, subtly recording Iris's plain veil, with accompanying messages appearing in personal conversations, a misjudgment in Hat Montclair. Oliver Crane, the son of a British lord, commented, "She appears to have stepped out of a soup kitchen." Amusement reverberated within the castle's stone walls, each word feeling like a stone thrown at Iris's heart. She straightened her veil, maintaining a steady smile, her silence acting as a defense against their malice. A wave of anger surged through the audience, their outrage at this planned cruelty a palpable force. The castle's employees, accustomed to remaining unseen, participated in the taunting with quiet remarks. A waiter, offering champagne, halted near Iris, speaking softly but clearly. "Miss, the staff entrance is over there," he stated, indicating a side door, his smile reflected in the expressions of other attendees. "We don't generally permit guests to stand at the altar," he continued, prompting laughter from the privileged. Cameras recorded Iris's serene expression, their intimate messages circulating. Wedding fraud. The audience's applause felt like a crushing wave, their self-importance a visible condemnation. Iris straightened her veil, her hazel eyes steady, but her father's live stream showed his face marked with distress, revealing the staff's involvement in a new act of deception. The viewers' anger reached its highest point, their pulses racing at this systemic injustice, their resentment poised to erupt. Upon Iris's arrival at the altar, the groom's absence felt like a new blow. Julian Westwood, the founder of Westwood Intelligence, who controls 40% of the global AI market, was missing. There was no music and no quartet played. The officiant, a silver-haired dignitary in a tailored suit, remained silent, his eyes moving uneasily. The guests looked at each other, their murmurs increasing. Had he abandoned her? A Dutch heiress murmured, her $15,000 earrings shifting. Whispers circulated about him still seeing that Italian model. One person commented, their voice picked up by the live stream's concealed microphones. Perhaps this entire situation was a publicity maneuver, someone suggested. Marry, then vanish. Iris remained solitary, her simple dress sharply contrasting with the vacant spot next to her, her hazel eyes focused on the distant view. Her father's expression on the live stream faltered, the rejection a painful blow, and the audience's anger intensified, hoping for this public humiliation to cease. The live stream transformed into a space of harsh judgment, intensifying the elite's disdain for a worldwide audience. Phones illuminated, guests sharing messages in private chats, their comments a public condemnation. Nana Mebride, one read, focusing on Iris's simple veil. "She's a fraud," another posted, disseminated by a royal's cousin. A guest exclaimed, "Bet she paid to wear that gown," which triggered a surge of laughter that resonated throughout the hall. The live stream's hidden comments overflowed with messages like, "Cancel the wedding," and "Imposter." A woman wearing an Oscar de la Renta gown valued at $40,000 loudly protested. Her actions were seen as disrespectful to the castle. Calls for intervention arose. Iris's hands remained composed, her hazel eyes focused on the altar, while her father's expression on the live stream revealed intense distress, each online comment a source of pain for his daughter. The audience's outrage grew, their feelings sympathetic to Iris, hoping for this widespread embarrassment to cease. The castle's employees, accustomed to remaining unseen, subtly participated in the derision. As a waiter passed, offering champagne, he stopped near Iris, speaking softly but clearly. "Miss, the staff entrance is over there," he stated, indicating a side door, his expression echoed by those around him. "We typically don't allow guests to stand at the altar," he added, prompting amusement from the assembled elite. Numerous phones recorded Iris's composed face, their personal messages flying with speculation. Wedding fraud. The collective acceptance felt overwhelming, their sense of superiority a public display of judgment. Iris adjusted her veil, her hazel eyes unwavering, but her father's live stream feed showed his face etched with pain, revealing the staff's complicity in a fresh betrayal. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts pounding at this institutional cruelty, their outrage a fire ready to explode. The whispers grew into a crescendo, the guests scorn a global spectacle via the private live stream. A German tech heiress posted about no-name bride, zooming in on Iris's plain gown. A guest texted, describing her as a nobody, a message shared by a royal's cousin. The wife of a French diplomat exclaimed, "Bet she forged her invitation." This sparked laughter that resonated throughout the hall. The live stream's hidden comments became a torrent. "Cancel the wedding." One read, "Fraud." Another woman, wearing a $25,000 Valentino dress, declared, "She's humiliating the Westwood name." Someone urgently called for an intervention. Iris's hands remained steady, her hazel eyes focused on the altar, but her father's face on the live stream displayed profound distress, each digital interaction feeling like a painful setback for his daughter. The audience's displeasure surged, their emotions with Iris, yearning for this staged cruelty to cease. The quiet lingered, the altar vacant, the guests' presence a constant barrage. Then, a faint hum filled the air, rotating blades cutting through the sky. A helicopter landed on Montclair's back lawn, its black frame gleaming, its roar silencing the whispers. The doors opened and Julian Westwood stepped out, his tailored jacket dusted with snow, his tie undone, a leather case in hand. But the man beside him caused a stir, Iris's father, frail, his hospital gown replaced with a simple suit, his eyes bright with pride. Julian had flown to New York, engaged an international medical team, and arranged the flight to bring him here. A hush fell over the audience, their phones shaking, as the live stream exploded with activity. A collective gasp arose. Was that her father? Iris's hazel eyes grew wide, her breath paused, her composure faltering for the first time. The audience's spirits lifted, their frustration transforming into wonder, the reality a revelation. Julian didn't approach the VIP carpet. He sprinted, visibly running, across the lawn, his shoes disappearing into the grass, his blue eyes fixed on Iris. He arrived at the altar, out of breath, and clasped her hand, his voice strained. "Please accept my apologies for the delay, but I pledged I would always ensure you weren't left unsupported." He addressed the attendees, his expression intense. "This day marks not my wedding, but a ceremony celebrating the individual who enabled me to feel deserving of love." He indicated the officiant, and then exited the dressing room. After 5 minutes, he reappeared wearing a plain white tuxedo, devoid of cufflinks and any unnecessary embellishment. The assembly made way for him, their disapproval diminishing to a distant murmur, their mobile devices momentarily disregarded. Iris's father sat in the front row, wiping away quiet tears, his presence affirming Julian's commitment. The livestream comments flooded in, reading, "This is unreal. Hatch Iris and Julian." The wedding commenced, the atmosphere in the castle's electric with sincerity. As Julian positioned himself beside Iris, he addressed the assembled guests, his voice powerful enough to quiet any remaining murmurs. "You ridiculed my wife, believing her to be inadequate alone. He declared, his blue eyes intensely focused. Iris Lane remains the core of this castle, and you will be held accountable for your actions. He presented a tablet showing canceled agreements, suspended accounts, and terminated collaborations. Each of you who mocked me, your names are removed from my network, he stated, his eyes fixed on Amelia. You, cousin, are excluded from the Westwood Empire completely. The assembly reacted with shock, their jewels losing their brilliance, their standing diminishing. Celeste DuPont's banking arrangements collapsed, Victor Langston's technology corporation weakened, and the live stream became viral. Justice prevailed, Ren influence solidified, and Iris remained composed, her simple dress appearing regal, her victory confirmed by Julian's fury. The viewers applauded, their spirits lifted as his power diminished the arrogance of the influential. Iris's history remained unknown, whether to the attendees, not Amelia, or the livestream audience. At 20, she demonstrated exceptional linguistic ability, achieving fluency in 5 languages, and her work with nonprofits in Kenya connected assistance to isolated villages. She instructed children in schools constructed of mud, her earnings just enough to cover rent, her emotional development influenced by her mother's passing and her father's bravery. She encountered Julian at a Nairobi conference. Her translation of a refugee's account inspired him to financially support her organization. Their affection developed discreetly, away from public attention, based on common principles, rather than material possessions. She now stood at Montclair, her simple gown a statement against the elite's perceived disdain, her heart filled with a fierce determination to expose their falsehoods. The wedding ceremony was understated. There was no orchestra, no elaborate floral decorations, only Iris and Julian at the altar, their hands joined. The officiant spoke with a calm voice, his words a solemn promise of commitment, honor, and enduring love. Iris's father stood, visibly weakened but steadfast, and took her hand, leading her to Julian. The guests stood, the memory of their previous harshness a burden they carried, their quietness a strained politeness. Julian's gaze remained fixed on Iris, his self-esteem a suppressed intensity. The live stream recorded their promises, with comments appearing rapidly. She's a queen, a Montclair miracle. The castle's order changed, its entrances opening further, its essence redefined by a woman who had faced rejection and now seemed beyond reproach. Julian moved ahead, needing no amplification, his voice sharp and clear. I heard every word that was said, and I am aware of who spoke. He turned to Amelia, his cousin, his expression chilling. You invoked the Westwood name to disparage my wife? You are hereby removed from every family trust established under my name. Her Chanel dress appeared to droop, her smirk vanished, her standing diminished. He addressed the guests, his blue eyes fierce. Those of you who questioned her worth, who referred to her as the bride with no name, you are no longer included in any of my future deals. Ever. A hush fell over the assembly, their jewels losing their luster, their power wavering. Celeste DuPont's glass broke upon the marble floor, Victor Langston's timepiece ceased functioning, Oliver Crane's distinction proved insignificant. The live stream rapidly gained global prominence, with Iris Lane dominating social media, her lone walk becoming a celebrated event. The elite's decline was instantaneous, their pride collapsing under Julian's direction. Amelia's complexion paled, her financial resources cut off, her influence dispersing as their humiliation spread online. Celeste DuPont's banking empire encountered sanctions, her derision a public embarrassment. Victor Langston's tech agreements were terminated, his contempt a critical error. The Russian oligarch's wife departed, her Givenchy gown offering no protection from the rumors. She disrespected Westwood's bride. Oliver Crane's lordship was the subject of ridicule, his wagers a humiliation. The employees who had sneered were dismissed, their careers ended. The attendees who had laughed were denied access, their standing diminished. Iris stood beside Julian, her simple veil a quiet crown, her hazel eyes unwavering. The live stream recorded the outcome, comments appearing rapidly, they received what was due. Hail Iris resonated within the audience's hearts, their anger shifting into pride. Iris's victory and Julian's fury, a blaze that consumed the elite's injustice. The repercussions were immediate, a resolution brought without words. Amelia retreated into the castle's shadows, her trust fund depleted, her followers avoiding her. Celeste Dupont's banking empire underwent audits, her disdain a public mark. Victor Langston's tech deals failed, his derision a widely shared error. The Russian oligarch's wife departed, her Givenchy gown offering no protection from the rumors. She criticized Westwood's wife. Oliver Crane's lordship was ridiculed, his wagers a shame. The employees who had sneered were terminated, their identification removed, their careers ended. The attendees who had laughed dispersed, their invitations canceled, their power diminished. Iris stood beside Julian, her simple gown gleaming, her hazel eyes gentle yet firm. The audience's hearts pounded, their anger changing into pride. Iris's victory was a force that consumed the elite's harshness. Iris's father sat in the front row, his tears silent, his suit a gift from Julian. He rose again, took Iris's hand, and placed it in Julian's, his voice a whisper. "You've always been enough." The castle rose, no one daring to remain seated, not because of Julian's power, but because of Iris's eyes. Eyes that had witnessed loss, service, and love, and now radiated a strength that humbled the elite. Julian held her hand, their vows a promise of truth. No tiara adorned her, no $100,000 gown clothed her, but Montclair belonged to her, a monument to a woman who'd walked alone and made the world bow. She possessed no noble name, no dynasty behind her, no diamonds on her wrist. She possessed something unique compared to everyone else at Montclair, a man prepared to abandon everything simply to hold her hand. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more, and let us know in the comments, would you have stood alone like Iris did? Entering the interview at a leading financial firm, she felt belittled by a panel who mocked her linen shirt and accused her of being a fraud. They dismissed her impressive resume, laughing, and declared, "You're no leader. Go fetch coffee." Despite the humiliation, Elena remained composed, concealing a secret that would dramatically alter their perception. Shortly thereafter, the CEO addressed her with deference, his voice wavering, "Madam Chairwoman." The Altera Group's headquarters dominated Manhattan's skyline, a glass monolith projecting power and prestige. Its lobby resembled a cathedral of wealth, featuring marble floors, gold-trimmed elevators, and a chandelier, comparable in size to a small car, scattering prisms across leather sofas. Altera was a financial titan managing trillion-dollar portfolios for governments, tech giants, and old-money dynasties across Europe and beyond. The boardroom regularly welcomed Nobel laureates, and its executive suites saw a constant turnover of individuals from Ivy League institutions. The company fostered a demanding culture, where presentation held as much weight as skill, and an unsuitable suit could jeopardize a career. Altera's Instagram showcased its C-suite members wearing Armenian Rolexes, projecting a carefully constructed image of exclusivity. It was an environment where status served as protection, and those not belonging often faced rejection. Elena Royce entered the lobby, her white linen shirt crisp yet plain, her cream trousers tailored but understated, her flat shoes making no sound on the marble. At 39, she presented a striking image through her composure, with hazel eyes that conveyed both kindness and determination, dark hair styled in a low ponytail, and no cosmetics beyond a touch of lip balm. Her canvas tote held a notebook, a pen, and a well-worn copy of The Wealth of Nations. Elena possessed a legendary status in finance, holding a double MBA from Oxford and MIT. She had spent 15 years directing strategy for leading investment funds in Zurich, Singapore, and Boston, and had received personal endorsements from 3 global banking CEOs. A decade prior, she had designed Altera's recruitment system as a consultant, focusing on fairness and meritocracy, before transitioning to chair a private foundation. Today, Elena returned incognito to evaluate that system, presenting herself as an applicant for the position of Global Strategy Vice President. Her financial resources, connected to her husband's tech empire, were extensive but not readily apparent. She favored keeping it so. The receptionist, a young woman named Chloe with a neat bun and diamond earrings, observed Elena's attire and smiled faintly. Applicants for interviews utilized the side entrance, she stated, indicating a glass door. Elena acknowledged, her tote bag over her shoulder, and proceeded as directed, disregarding the hushed conversations from the suited executives in the vicinity. While Elena waited in the hallway prior to her interview, the other candidates, dressed in expensive suits and displaying a sense of superiority, gathered in a group around her, their murmurs cutting like barbs. Lila Tate, wearing a Gucci skirt, gestured toward Elena's tote and laughed, remarking, "Is that her briefcase or a grocery bag?" Jared Holt, considered the frontrunner, added to the mockery, tossing a crumpled dollar bill near her feet. "For your dry cleaning," he said with a sneer, eliciting laughter from the assembled group. A fellow applicant, Ethan Crane, identifiable by his Rolex, took a photograph and shared it within a group chat called Altera Wannabes. He captioned the image hat budget candidate. The sound of their amusement reverberated through the hallway as phones recorded Lila's chant. "No suit. No shot." Emily Voss, a junior HR staffer, observed from close proximity, offering no intervention. Elena's grip on her tote bag tightened, her hazel eyes reflecting suppressed distress. Yet she maintained an upright posture, her composure a silent challenge to their unkindness. The video appeared on Instagram, quickly accumulating 10,000 views, and each comment felt like a personal affront. "Lost in turn?" one person wrote, followed by laughter. "Or the cleaning crew," another added, their amusement cutting. The side entrance opened onto a clinical hallway, where Elena joined a queue of applicants, primarily dressed in tailored suits and carrying leather briefcases. Jared Holt, a man in a pinstripe suit, looked down at her tote and remarked, "Hope you brought a better pitch than your wardrobe," his words intended to be heard and eliciting further laughter. Elena's hazel eyes shifted, but a faint smile touched her lips, her composure a quiet fortress. Within the interview room, a modern conference space featuring floor-to-ceiling windows, the panel was assembled. HR Director Michael Callahan, a man of substantial build in a $5,000 suit, Senior Manager Vanessa Klein, her red lipstick a sharp contrast against her tailored blazer, and Director of Operations David Rees, his cufflinks catching the light as he reviewed documents. Their gazes assessed Elena's appearance, their smiles restrained and calculated. Callahan reclined, a chuckle escaping him. "Are you the candidate? I assumed you were the coffee lady." Vanessa offered a smirk, commenting, "Is this your interview attire? Did nobody mention Altera has a standard?" The room's atmosphere grew heavy, their assessment a tangible presence. Elena spoke, her voice steady and deliberate. "Please review my resume, and let's begin the interview." Callahan scoffed, dismissing her file without opening it. "We'll get to that," he stated, his voice laced with disdain. The panel's inquiries seemed routine and intended to quickly end the discussion. While Elena tried to respond to Vanessa's shallow question regarding mergers, the panel seemed to intentionally undermine her. David Rees activated a projector showing a slide labeled Candidate Attire Standards featuring a photograph of a woman in a linen shirt closely resembling Elena's, marked with a red X. He stated with a smirk, and as the room chuckled, "This is you." Callahan then cut her off, demanding, "Speak louder. It's hard to focus with that outfit." Vanessa dropped a second test, 5 pages of conflicting financial models while still explaining, mentioning, "Oh, and this one's due in 3 minutes." The panel chuckled, their pens tapping, as Jared glanced in, winking at Callahan. The sabotage was obvious, a display intended to unsettle her. Elena's pen hesitated, her hazel eyes focusing, but she kept writing, her demeanor steady. A screenshot of the slide appeared, shared on the Altera Elite Slack with the caption, "Shash, dressed to fail." Each share felt like a public humiliation of her. "Describe your experience with high-stakes mergers," Vanessa inquired, her pen tapping with impatience. Elena started explaining her involvement in a $50 billion deal in Singapore, but David interrupted her. "That's sufficient," he stated, a smirk playing on his face. "It seems like assistant-level work." The panel looked at each other, their enjoyment evident. Then Callahan placed a 10-page financial analysis test onto the table. 5 minutes, he stated. "Let's see if you're worth our time." The test was exceptionally difficult, filled with complex equations, inconsistent data, and designed to be failed. Elena reviewed it, her hazel eyes focusing, but she wrote consistently, her pen moving with accuracy. When the time ended, Vanessa took the papers, giving them only a brief look. "You don't align with our leadership culture," she stated, her voice resolute. The reasons given were incorrect attire, a lack of presence, and a poor test performance. Before Elena could reply, Jared Holt, the candidate waiting outside, entered, his pinstripe suit sharply visible. He had been previously chosen. His interview was a mere formality following a $200,000 donation to Callahan's private fund. Jared gave Vanessa a wink, and she returned the gesture, moving his file to the top. "Now this is leadership material," she announced, making certain Elena heard. The panel chuckled. Callahan patted Jared's shoulder. "You're our guy," he stated, disregarding Elena's presence. The room's established order was evident. Wealth and appearances held more value than qualifications. Elena rose, holding her tote, and inclined her head, her voice calm but resolute. "I am unaware of any candidate so remarkable that the panel would dismiss all established criteria, encompassing experience and ethics. However, if a financial offering is sufficient to influence a decision, then today's assessment is superfluous." A palpable silence fell. Callahan's face flushed, his hand striking the table as he rose. "Are you suggesting we solicit bribes?" he demanded. "Do you have any understanding of who you're addressing? This is a leading financial conglomerate, not a venue for unfounded claims." Vanessa's slight smile disappeared, and her pen fell from her hand. David moved closer, his tone sharp. "You display a remarkable lack of respect, madam. It's no surprise you present yourself so plainly." The other candidates in the hallway, looking through the glass, murmured, "She's finished." Elena remained unmoved. She met Callahan's gaze, her voice calm and measured. "I know precisely who I am addressing," she stated, "and with equal clarity, who is not worthy of a place at this table." A profound silence filled the room, unsettling the panel, their eyes shifting with unease. As Elena's words lingered, Vanessa turned to David, her whisper carrying through the space. "She is likely a dissatisfied employee seeking legal action," she remarked with a smirk. "Observe her closely. It seems likely she created her resume at a public library." The interview panel reacted with laughter, their voices cutting, as Jared joined in, offering a playful salute to Elena. "Better luck at the temp agency," he remarked, high-fiving David. Candidates in the hallway quietly chuckled, recording the interaction on their phones for a private Slack channel named All Terra Elites. The video circulated rapidly, accompanied by captions like, "Our coffee lady crashes." Comments followed, including dismissive remarks like, "What a loser! Fire her already." Elena's fingers gripped her tote, her hazel eyes unwavering. However, the shame felt palpable, enveloping her like smoke. She remained silent, her dignity serving as a defense against their harshness. The panel's derision intensified. One man, still visibly angered, snatched Elena's test and ripped it in half, throwing the fragments onto the table. "This is our assessment of your abilities," he declared, his voice resonant. "You are consuming our time." Vanessa rose, the sound of her heels sharp, and indicated Elena's tote. "Check that bag before she leaves," she instructed a security guard stationed by the door. She added, "I wouldn't be surprised if she's got company pens in there." The guard, a stocky man named Victor, smirked and approached, his radio emitting static. "Open it, ma'am," he said, his tone suggesting suspicion. Elena calmly unzipped her tote, displaying only her notebook and book. But the guard shook his head, murmuring, "Shady." The panel chuckled, with Jared taking a photo. The flash illuminated Elena's face. An image appeared on Twitter, labeled as an all-terror rejection, and quickly gained 5,000 retweets. Elena's jaw clenched, but she secured her tote, maintaining her composure. Beyond the glass walls, the other candidates created a barrier, their murmured comments forming a wave of disapproval. "No wonder she's struggling," one remarked, a woman in a Gucci skirt named Lila Tate. Another, a man wearing a Tom Ford suit, added, "I'll wager she's never been in a boardroom." The sound of their laughter resonated, phones recording as Elena passed by, her apartment quiet. Lila created a TikTok, adding her commentary over the video. This is why Altera's elite. We don't allow just anyone in. The video quickly reached 50,000 views, each share feeling like a public embarrassment. As Elena approached the elevator, a junior HR staffer, Emily Voss, smiled, saying, "Wrong floor, hun." Janitors used the service lift. A sudden burst of laughter filled the hallway, the candidate's amusement sharp and jarring, but Elena remained composed, pressing the button as her hazel eyes focused on the doors, her demeanor concealing a fierce determination. The elevator hadn't finished closing when the panel delivered their final critique. Callahan arrived in the hallway, clutching Elena's untouched resume, and declared, "Don't expect to return, you're blacklisted." He ripped the file, scattering the pages across the floor before the candidates. Vanessa followed, her tone laced with animosity. "Take your little book with you," she said, nudging Elena's copy of The Wealth of Nations towards her. The candidates responded with cheers, Jared shouting, "Back to the library." The security guard laughed quietly, his radio static as he murmured, "Thought she'd cause trouble." The video of the resumes shredding quickly spread online, with the hashtag #AlteraElites trending in all comments. The general sentiment was, she deserved it. No class, no chance, a fresh wound. Elena grasped her book, the weight of betrayal in her tote, and entered the elevator, holding her head high. Shortly after, the boardroom doors opened, and Gideon Price, the CEO, walked in. At 50 years old, he was a renowned figure, possessing a strong jawline, silver-flecked hair, and blue eyes that commanded attention. Gideon had transformed Altera into a worldwide leader, his reputation for impartiality as respected as his intelligence. Without looking at the panel, he walked purposefully toward Elena, who had been brought back by his assistant, Lucas, a young man in a navy suit. The atmosphere in the room changed, and the panel's expressions softened. Gideon halted before Elena, his voice a low and steady tone. "Madam Chairwoman," he said, inclining his head slightly, "I apologize for the delay." The room felt heavy, and the panel's complexions paled. Elena released her coat, exposing a gold-plated badge affixed to her shirt, identifying her as chairwoman of the board, Elena Royce. She addressed the panel, her hazel eyes displaying a controlled coolness. "I did not come here seeking employment," she stated, her voice clear and resonant. She hesitated, her eyes meeting those of Callahan, then Vanessa, then Jared. And the conclusion is negative. Following Gideon's words, "Madam Chairwoman," the panel's confidence dissolved into fear. Callahan's face turned pale, his $5,000 suit offering no protection as he stammered, "Chairwoman? This is a mistake." Vanessa's heels shook, her red lipstick a striking contrast to her pallor as she gripped the table, murmuring, "No one told us." David's cufflinks made a clicking sound as his hands trembled, his projector slide still displaying the taunting image of Elena's outfit. Elena retrieved a tablet from her tote and presented a live feed of the Altera Elite's Slack, revealing their captions, "Hat Coffee Lady crashes dressed to fail," to the assembled group. "You fostered a culture of corruption," she stated, her voice composed yet forceful, her hazel eyes focused intently on each panelist. The candidates in the hallway reacted with surprise, dropping their phones as Lucas displayed Elena's identification on the wall, prominently showing her title, Chairwoman of the Board. Gideon's blue eyes darkened, his voice a growl. "You're done," he told the panel, their careers vanishing before them. The room's silence served as a verdict, their fear a palpable force as Elena's power altered their world. Gasps spread through the room, the candidates in the hallway stopping, their phones lowering. Callahan's mouth opened but no words came. Vanessa's heels wobbled, her red lipstick a striking contrast against her complexion. Jared's pinstripe suit seemed to contract, his confidence gone. Elena advanced, placing her tote on the table, her voice unwavering. 10 years ago, I established Altera's hiring process to emphasize merit, skills, ethics, and vision, she stated. Today you have demonstrated that it has become a venue for corruption and prejudice. She retrieved a folder from her tote, passing it to Gideon. This contains proof of payments to guarantee positions, encompassing Mr. Holtz. The folder specified Jared's $200,000 contribution, bank transfers linked to Callahan's account, and emails from Vanessa assuring Jared the position. A wave of shock rippled through the panel. Their hands shook. Gideon's expression grew severe, his voice firm. He announced, effective immediately, Mr. Callahan, Ms. Klein, Mr. Reese, and Mr. Holt are suspended pending investigation. The security guard, Victor, visibly lost color, his radio unresponsive as Lucas led him away. The consequences were substantial. By noon, Altera's board initiated a comprehensive inquiry, revealing a system of compensated roles and discriminatory behaviors. Callahan's fund was frozen, his $5,000 suit offering no protection as he confronted fraud charges. Vanessa's LinkedIn profile was overwhelmed with bribe queen comments, and her consulting engagements were canceled. Jared's finance career suffered a devastating blow, his pinstripe suit becoming a relic as firms placed him on a blacklist. The investigation uncovered that Lila Tate and Emily Voss had disclosed internal memos that ridiculed unsuitable candidates, resulting in their terminations and the suspension of their social media accounts for hate speech. Elena's inquiry went beyond suspending the panel. It removed individuals involved in wrongdoing from Altera's boardroom. She called for an urgent board meeting, appearing with a linen shirt illuminated by the chandeliers, and presented a file detailing 20 managers connected to the bribery scheme, their names displayed on a screen. The board, previously unconcerned with reputation concerns, remained motionless, their professional attire providing no protection as Elena's voice resonated. You facilitated a process that traded trust for money. Sarah Holt, Callahan's deputy and the individual who had approved Jared's deal, visibly lost color as security personnel led her away. A palpable change in the room's atmosphere occurred, with directors visibly shaken as Elena implemented the Royce standard, requiring ethics audits for every new hire. The Financial Times broadcast her speech live, her tote bag visible on the podium as she stated, Altera will lead by merit or it will not lead at all. Online platforms celebrated her, with the hashtag BoardroomBestrending gaining traction, each message acknowledging her bold leadership. The LinkedIn profiles of the removed managers disappeared, their apprehension regarding Elena's determination leaving a lasting impression. The Street Journal published a front-page article detailing the Altera scandal, highlighting bribery and bias within the financial giant. Social media exploded, with @AltraShame becoming a global trending topic, users posting commentary. They ridiculed her shirt, now they are without employment. The hallway candidates, previously Elena's detractors, confronted a public accounting as Lucas broadcast the interview recordings to Altera's internal network. Lila Tate's Gucci skirt appeared to droop as a TikTok video making fun of Elena appeared, her face flushed as colleagues murmured, "That's her." Jared's dollar toss played again, his pinstripe suit offering no protection. As gasps echoed in the hallway, his Altera-inspired group chat, with 200 members, was revealed, causing embarrassment. Ethan Crane's Rolex shone as he attempted to leave, but security prevented him, his photo post now labeled, #, career killer online. Elena stood at the room's center, her tote on the table, and stated, "You judged me by my shirt, not my skills. Now the world sees your character." The footage appeared on LinkedIn, accumulating 5 million views, with comments such as, "They're finished. Elena's a queen." A cheer arose for her triumph. The candidates' careers suffered a collapse, their elitism becoming a public embarrassment, their fear of Elena's power serving as a lesson reflected in their downfall. The audience responded with enthusiasm on social media, with Royce rules trending as Elena's justice prevailed. Footage from a leaked interview, provided to a news outlet by Lucas, reached 30 million views. The video depicted Callahan ripping Elena's test, Vanessa's request for a bag check, and Jared's taunts, contrasted with Elena's composure and Gideon's bull. The phrase "Madam Chairwoman" became a recurring theme on TikTok, with each mention celebrated as a sign of Elena's victory. Videos of the candidates, including Lila's TikTok and Jared's photo, were transformed into memes bearing the caption "Elite Losers." Altera's Instagram, previously a platform displaying authority, was overwhelmed with comments expressing disapproval, such as "Shame on you," seeking justice for Elena. The board's apology, released at 6 a.m., was overshadowed by online criticism, and the company's reputation became a warning example. Elena went beyond suspensions. 1 week later, she appeared at a press conference wearing a plain navy blazer, with a tote bag on the podium, to announce Altera's revised recruitment policy. She stated, with unwavering hazel eyes, that all applications would be submitted anonymously, without names, photos, or personal branding. Only skills would be considered. A wave of applause and flashing cameras filled the space. The new policy, known as the Royce Standard, prohibited evaluations based on appearance, requiring anonymous reviews for all positions. Forbes described it as a seismic shift in executive recruitment, and organizations such as Goldman Sachs and UBS implemented comparable procedures. Elena's Royce Standard created a significant impact far beyond Altera, compelling international companies to confront their own biases. During a Davos panel discussion, Elena, with her tote by her side, urged CEOs to implement blind hiring, her hazel eyes focusing intently on a visibly unsettled bank executive who had previously criticized her consulting work. The room fell silent. His apology was subsequently tweeted, and Hatch-Elena effect became a trending topic as 50 firms committed to reforms. Following the panel at Altera, the desks were cleared, Callahan's awards were discarded, Vanessa's designer pens were taken, and Jared's framed MBA was placed in a bin. Colleagues observed with astonishment as Elena passed, her flats making no sound, her voice composed. This exemplified accountability. The Economist highlighted her with the cover story, The Chairwoman's Revolution, her linen shirt becoming symbolic. The individual responsible exhibited clear apprehension, their names removed from finance records, their workspaces deserted as Elena's policies transformed the industry. Online platforms expressed approval, with users commenting, "She straightened the executive out." Elena's influence, understated yet profound, left those responsible feeling shaken. Elena's impact extended beyond Altera. Her foundation initiated a worldwide program, providing financial training to 10,000 women, equipping them to address bias, with workshops featuring accounts of discrimination. She meticulously managed every aspect, her notebook documenting numerous ideas, and her tote bag a familiar sight at seminars. Her husband, Nathan Royce, a tech billionaire who established a cybersecurity enterprise, offered his support discreetly. His Gulfstream was stationed at Teterboro, yet it was Elena's vision that fueled change. The boardroom where she'd been mocked became the Royce Conference Center, honoring her legacy. Correspondence arrived from candidates globally, expressing how the Royce Standard instilled hope. Elena read each letter, her hazel eyes reflecting determination. Altera didn't fully regain its former vibrancy. Its stock price stabilized, but the company's culture transformed, the Royce Standard eliminating elitism. Altera's Instagram now highlighted a varied workforce, its chandeliers softened by Elena's influence. Callahan and Vanessa receded from public view, their bribes becoming a minor detail. Jared's LinkedIn profile remained inactive, his confidence concealed. Lila and Emily sought employment in retail, their TikTok videos removed. The public observed Elena's ascent, her white shirt symbolizing strength. She refrained from boasting, instead establishing a more equitable system, utilizing composure rather than animosity. Elena and Nathan enjoyed evenings in their Brooklyn brownstone, where the garden echoed with their daughter's laughter. She wore a linen shirt, he wore jeans, no tie. They discussed strategy over coffee, her tote on the counter holding a new photo. Elena at the policy launch, her smile radiant. Their wealth was immense, but their mission was greater, rooted in a shared belief in fairness. The world knew Elena now, not as a billionaire's wife, but as a force who turned scorn into systemic change. Elena Royce didn't need a title, she was the standard. If the story moved you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.